your daughter Nia appeared on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood and had a public relationship with Soulja Boy. Now, speaking about children and being the head honcho to them and protector, she made allegations a few years ago that Soulja Boy became very physical with her. We know you publicly demanded an apology for Soulja Boy to your daughter. Did she ever receive that?
You know, it's so crazy because I kind of stepped out of it, you know, because there was a point where it got to me and I had to do something about it.
Okay.
But at some point, remember we discussed going back. When you go back and you get the same thing, why is it that you don't just leave at the, you know, the first time around?
For sure.
And especially in a female perspective, it should be no going back on after the first
example.
You know what I'm saying?
Display of
what I mean is, if someone is abusive to you, it should be over with from there.
So, counsel the parents, specifically the fathers, with this particular situation. Now, we all know who Soulja Boy is. We all have seen and been a fan. And for the people who don't know, Nia is actually here. Like, my children are not old enough to date, right? My oldest daughter, she just turned 19, but she ain't in the moment where people may consider that to be something serious as she's dating. But when you hear certain things like that to happen, now you put your dad hat on. How does that make you feel, and how do you react to those things when you hear it?
Disappointed. And mostly at her, not him. Disappointed because you knew this coming into it. You knew his head ain't right. You knew all of this stuff. Why continue? What's the purpose? You don't have to worry about money. What is it? And sometimes you don't even want to guess, or you don't want to, you know in your mind, this is truly what it is.
Right.
You know, but it is what it is. And that's where you're going to have to be a father and step back for a minute. And when I stepped back, there was a lot of things that were hidden from me that I find out later, you know, that he was really abusive. Like, it was just no telling, no guy would do this to a woman if you wasn't under the, how you say, substance. Substance, you know, plural.
For sure.
So, and you know, I get kind of emotional with this because I feel like if she would have just taken my advice, because we talk about this.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, she'll ask me things that, you know, of course, we all played in our time. So I was always transparent. Yeah, I went through that with your mom. And that's the reason why we're not together today. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do then. So I respected her, and, you know, how you helped them, you know, it's like me and her mom are still best friends.
Yeah.
You know, so we didn't hate each other, we just had an understanding.
For sure.
I don't think that generation is about understanding. It's about what I seen my dad do or what I seen my uncle do, and I'm gonna do it to my, you know, my spouse. And that's the reason why a lot of things need to change so that we can save our next generation, because this generation don't believe in love.
Yeah.
They have to truly learn it in order to believe in it and know that it is good. It's nothing, how you say, dangerous about being in love. It's just you just got to be on the same page. So, they were never on the same page.
So I'll say this: at no way, shape, form are we condemning or making assumptions that domestic violence or violence as a whole is okay.
It's okay.
You know, because it's not.
It isn't.
I don't think love is violent. I think love is acceptance and understanding. As a father, right, especially having daughters, I would imagine it was difficult to restrain yourself from altercations with Soulja Boy. But did y'all ever come to an altercation, to blows, or just getting an understanding with each other?
That's not me at all. I don't need to throw blows.
Yeah. Have you ever spoke to him? And
Yeah.
what was that conversation like?
In the beginning, it was good, you know, to a point where Soulja, I don't know what he had this day, but, you know, I was called so many names, and I just said, are you truly, you know, is it me? Or what have I done to you for you to say whatever you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it could be. It could have been something that she said, my dad is, you know, and then he just went in.
Now,
you never know what's the true story.
Was this conversation over the phone or was this face-to-face?
It started on a DM. From a DM to, I said, call me. And he called me, and it was just words, you know, thrown at me. I didn't throw anything back. And I said, oh, you know this is me, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, I know. And I said, okay. So this is not a conversation for me. And I hung up the phone. And he looked out his window.
Sometimes your brain is ready, but your body just don't get the memo. And let's be honest, that's way more common than people really would admit. Now, a lot of guys that I've talked to say the pressure to be ready on demand can make things worse. And that right there is where Rose Sparks comes in. I'm not a Rose Sparks user myself, but here's what they are designed to do. After Rose Sparks dissolves under your tongue, it typically gets you, let's say, ready in about 15 minutes on average. Why, you might ask? It's because it entered the bloodstream faster than traditional pills, which can take an hour or more. Rose Sparks gives guys thicker, fuller erection, make you strong like bull. And that's one of the many reasons why Spark users report that their partners are more satisfied. And here's the kicker. It can last up to 36 hours, which means more sessions and less stress. Confidence changes everything, brothers. Rose Sparks connects guys with medical providers that's 100% online. And if approved, treatment ships directly to your front door. If prescribed, new sexual health patients gets $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with the provider at ro.co/4th/funky to find out if Rose Sparks is right for you. That's ro.co/4th/funky for $15 off your first order. Sparks is a compounded drug product. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety-info.
We knew the colors of his cars and everything. He knew it. I got the conversation and the receipts. He said, man, you got this car out there, you got this in the... My people are from LA. My people from everywhere. And I don't like to get into any confrontation. You know, I'm a nice guy, he knows this. Now we're cool. I hope that we're cool. But if it gets to a point where it's disrespect, no man wants to take disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I give you the respect, and I never even said anything about your relationship, because I don't come in between relationships. If that's what she loved, then I have to love it too. And this is without me knowing, you know, everything that was going on. So I still took it as, you know, for face value. He's still good. You know, we talked, and when we had that talk, you know, we had an understanding.
Yeah.
And then it got back out of hand, and I just said, you know what? Let me leave it alone.
How were you able, now granted, we're talking about an adult in your daughter, right? How was she able to walk away from that situation with the help of you, or how were you able to get her to kind of see through the lens of your eyes as the father and as a man?
I'd say from the many times I've told her, you know, you can have so much better and you can do so much better. You don't need anything, you know, and that's from me, you know, doing what I did and the seeds I planted to make sure that she don't need anything, you know, and she finally got it. But you have to sometimes let your children walk the walk. You know, you have to sometimes do it because, you know, anything bad can happen, and you don't want that. You want to be able to say, okay, I want to tell you as a father, this is what you should do. I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
This is my sole opinion of what needs to happen. If you're going to do this, I'm going to have to step back.
Right.
Because it's something about that's making you stay. So I can't make you leave if this is something you want to do. Right. But I'm advising you.